when you get an eclipse next to the south node of the moon, the changes that are happening, and by the way, we're going to have a second eclipse in 2 weeks, but we're not even going to look at that now. We'll look at it in 2 weeks. That's the lunar one in Taurus. But for this one, the changes that are coming, because it's the south node, are predestined. I don't know any other way to say it. They're part of your fate. You know, it could be, let's say again, to use the metaphor of relationship, because so many people are going through that with the Libra. If something's ending right now, it's truly because the cosmic clock says it's complete. It's not, to me, it's not a sign of failure. It's not a sign of, oh, you screwed this up. If only you'd been perfect, this would stay or not. This is the cosmic clock turning with that eclipse saying, perhaps you've learned everything you need to learn in this particular situation. Let it complete with grace so that you can be open to what's new. And this is not only romance, this is friendships. A lot of this can be about friendships, can be family relationships, can be work relationships, all across the board. Lakshmi, by the way, also rules money. And this eclipse being tied to that Venus star point is really tied to, you know, changes financially. It could be changes in people's work status. I mean, we could get into the whole thing of what's happening on the planet and the financial realm. But just in general, I would say the more that you can anchor yourself in that energy of Venus, divine source, Lakshmi, seeing yourself as a vehicle for abundance, you know, all that from the Not Your Money book. The more you can do that, the more you're stable in divine source, as all of these wild fluctuations are happening, because the whole idea of divine source is no person, place, or thing is your source, only the divine. So if she closes one door, she opens another. She becomes the stable point of the source, as opposed to this person or that thing. All right. But just that idea that, in fact, I wrote a note last night when I was thinking about all this, and it says, the changes that come right now were created to happen before the incarnation even began. I mean, to me, that's the simplest way to say it. It could be like an agreement before you were ever even born, saying at this turning point, these are the designated changes. So you can't really fight with a south node eclipse. That's how I say it. No matter how much you manifest or think, oh, I'm so strong, I create any wish I want, it doesn't work. In the end, the things that are part of destiny are for the highest good. And then they're replaced as this reboot happens, the turn of the wheel, as your soul elevates up to the next, wherever, you know, rebirth within the same incarnation, the things that now match that new vibratory energy really come on their own without having to be chased. So that's the birth that we're in right now. And one of the things I would say is, like, I keep thinking this line in the last couple of weeks, birth is messy. I mean, I've never given birth to children, but I surely know birthing books is a mess. And for those of you that have done the human form, it's all messy. Like, that's the nature of birth. So if you're feeling like, wow, this is really out of control, that's what birth feels like. And this particular time right now, both the Venus cycle and the eclipse today, they're next to this dwarf planet that's called Haumea, Haumea, and it's the Hawaiian goddess of birth. So, like, we are just in birth time. And if you're feeling that sense of, oh yeah, I feel it, but man, where the hell is it taking me? And I don't know anything that's coming next. And things are falling away like mad, but I don't know what it's going to be replaced with. Don't worry. Don't worry. This eclipse cycle, one thing I can tell you for sure is you're going to know more in 2 weeks than you know now, because the lunar eclipse will come. Not only that, you're going to know even more by about the 19th of November, once we're far enough out from this, that more of the pieces can fall into place. But I'll talk about all that more as we get to later calls. Okay, 2 more pieces of the astrological story. By the way, I have to say, if you're new, the calls are all different. And when we're in periods like this, I do a good amount of astrology because I consider it life-saving for people. But when there's times that are quieter, I do a lot less astrology. I might do 5 minutes of astrology or 10 minutes of astrology on a small week so that we can go on to more questions. But right now, I'm like, holy shit, how can you not talk about this? This is absolutely, for almost everybody, this is a stretch where you will look back in your life, maybe in 5 years or 10 years, and go, wow, I remember that period at the end of 2022. That was the turning point of my existence, even if you can't see it yet.